what's up Shinobi Nation, Obsidian Shinobi here, and welcome back to another banger combat guide featuring Tifa. Tifa is one of my favorite characters to play as in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and she was also in the remake. They have given her so much more depth and utility in combat in this game, and I just want to share everything I have with you all the hidden gems, all the hacks, and we might go through a couple extra builds by the end of the video, just so you guys can know what I use in combat to make Tifa absolutely busted. Now drop a like, comment and subscribe on the video. The next guide will be about Red 13, so stay tuned for that. Let's begin. So just like every other character, Tifa has a basic 5-hit combo, right? Which you just do by pressing square 5 times. Basic input, that's that. This doesn't do much damage, but this can be enhanced with an ability called Unbridled Strength, which is one of the default abilities she has from the start of the game. Now, using Unbridled Strength does something to Tifa called enhancing her chi level. She has 3 chi levels, chi level 1, 2 and 3. Once using Unbridled Strength, she goes up to chi level 2. In this chi level, her basic attack combo when you press square increases to about 8 inputs, and she finishes with a spinning drop kick. Tifa has one of the greatest freaking combo animations in this game, which suits her fighting style. Honestly, making her look like an action character. She may as well be in Mortal Kombat, let's be honest. What's special about chi level 2 is that it gives her a new triangle ability called Omni Strike. With Omni Strike, you're able to increase the enemy stagger percentage level, allowing you and your comrades to actually do more damage to enemies in the staggered state. Pressing Unbridled Strength again will actually then increase her now to chi level 3, now changing her triangle move to Rise and Fall, which is a devastating flurry of spin kicks, finishing with a Dragon Ball-esque type punching move. Trust me guys, I'm not joking when I say she has one of the most badass animations ever. Unbridled Strength makes Tifa's utility in combat just so much better because she's now able to pressure enemies much more quicker, even just with basic attack combos. Again, Tifa's basic animation changes again even further. Now she goes up into the air, carries the enemy up with her, and then slams them back down for a punch. However, do take note that lighter enemies are much more easily staggered by these combos. Also, small detail, when you do actually use Unbridled Strength, when surrounded by lighter enemies, it actually lifts them up into the air as if she's just emitted a shockwave around her, which is absolutely insane, which can actually be used as a defensive strategy. Now, you're not forced to press triangle to do a whirling uppercut as well. Whirling uppercut, by the way, is Tifa's basic triangle move, which launches the enemy up into the air. This can also be used when the enemy is staggered to just increase their stagger by 5%, compared to Omni Strike and Rise and Fall, which does increase their stagger percentage by 30%. So if you do want to use Rise and Fall, say for example, there are certain buffs that you have when you level up your weapon that allow you to enter into combat with chi level 2, and say you don't want to use Omni Strike, you can simply hold down square, you don't have to press triangle. Now the next move we're going to talk about is Dive Kick. Dive Kick is one of my favorite moves for finishing off enemies in this game. You can simply hold down square and then press triangle if you have enough ATB whilst you're in midair, and Tifa will come crashing down onto the enemy's cranium and just absolutely wreck them. This is one of the best abilities to use whilst an enemy is pressured, because once you get that stagger gauge percentage up to almost even 300%, good gosh, you can absolutely obliterate an enemy's health. Now, in the way that Cloud starter kit is basically the Buster Sword, and he gets Braver as his main basic ability, this is Tifa's main basic ability paired with the leather gloves. And without further ado, let's go on to my next ability, which is probably one of my most favorite abilities with Tifa that absolutely levels the playing field. With Reverse Gale, the sky, ladies and gentlemen, is the limit. So next up guys, we have Reverse Gale, which is an ability that allows Tifa to knock enemies into the air or bring them crashing down with the wind aspected attack. Launches enemies towards you and can also be used while airborne. Now, because it's aspected with wind, you can actually use this against enemies that are weak to wind. So that increases pressure damage for those who are weak to wind. Now, this weapon's abilities has certain weapon skills attached to it. ATB charge rate up, so it increases your ATB charge rate by 10%. Increases damage dealt by unique abilities by 15%. It has the MP recovery rate up technique, which slightly increases MP regeneration speed during the battle. Steadfast concentration, which activates concentration after being revived. Increases attack damage by 5%. Restorative MP saver, which reduces the MP cost of healing spells by 10% when you have this equipped. Also, it can increase the max MP by 3 and increase your attack power by 20. So you can equip either combination of 3 of these as your weapon skills. I personally like to map reverse Gale to L1 and triangle while I'm in the air, because firstly I can use the synergy skill called Soaring Flurry with Cloud to actually allow her to go into the air first and start an air combo, build up ATB if she needs to, and then press L1 and triangle, which is where my reverse Gale is mapped to. I highly advise you guys use shortcuts in battle to just so you don't have to stop and press X and then actually look for the command. You can just simply tap L1 and triangle or whatever button your ability is mapped to, just to maintain the flow of combat. Tifa's very fast paced, so it's actually very cool if you just have a bunch of shortcuts and she just uses different things in the air, on the ground. It's just amazing. Alright, so as you can see here, the zoo is weak to wind. Always assess your enemies so you know what they're weak to and what their affinities are. So once I use Soaring Flurry with Tifa, instantly get her in the air, get my ATB, and then L1 and triangle, and you can see that the zoo is pressured instantly. Obviously we destroyed him because we're kind of over leveled, we're in endgame now, so yeah. Now a good thing to have on Tifa for this weapon is to have elemental and wind materia, especially when you love to use reverse Gale and you know you got a wind weak enemy to attack. This increases linked elemental damage dealt by 8%, so this will increase the damage of your reverse Gale and just increase the overall pressure you deal to enemies that are weak to wind. When you increase it to level 2, adds 15% linked elemental materia damage, and at level 3, 23% linked elemental damage dealt. Now I know I've shown you guys a lot of ways that this can be used in the air. Yes, it can be used in the ground, but obviously there's quite a few flying enemies in this game. So another way you can get Tifa in the air is with Yuffie's Shuriken Sync synergy skill with R1 and whatever shortcut it's mapped to. When you use this ability, Yuffie launches her Shuriken into the air and then Tifa is automatically teleported in there, hence the name Shuriken Sync. In addition to this, there's Heavenly Ascent, which you can use if you have Barret or Aerith in your team, and they can just launch Tifa straight into the air and she will also bring up lighter enemies with her as well. If Tifa's combat hasn't impressed you yet, I can assure you this next move will. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about Overpower. Now Overpower is mapped to the Kaiser Knuckles, the strongest weapons in the game for Tifa. Now the game tells you you're supposed to use this with other moves to increase pressure. What the game does not tell you is what other attacks necessarily it can be used with so you can gain the advantage. Now having Unbridled Strength equipped to Chi level 3 does make this more powerful and makes it much more easier to juggle enemies and pressure them. But using Overpower while in Chi level 2 or 3 makes it much more easier to pressure enemies and then start juggling them. These enemies here, for example, like the Flame Troopers, which are very hard to get to juggle, once you're in Chi level 3, start packing on the pain. And once you do Overpower in the middle of a combo, it does increase the Chi level 3 basic combo string. So she does go into a ground pound move, which I find is absolutely fantastic and just makes it look even more flashy. Just to use this in the middle of combos makes her combat just look so amazing and feels so much more fluid. Now in order for you to maximize the potential with this combat approach and playstyle, you are going to need 2 particular weapon skills at least attached to this weapon. The first one being Martial Arts Mastery. Now this will allow you to increase the duration of Unbridled Strength by 50%, so you can stay in Chi level 2 and Chi level 3 for longer. And also Concentration, very important, so that you can actually start battle with Omni Strike at least at Chi level 2. So you won't need to use 2 whole ATB gauges to get to Chi level 3. You can use it for another ability such as Overpower. And lastly, I would suggest using synergy damage up to increase abilities and synergy skills by 10%. So for example, Power Cleave with Cloud, or Spellblade Burst with Aerith, or her synergy ability with Cloud, Relentless Rush. It will absolutely just increase your damage so much. 10% doesn't sound like a lot, but it makes a big difference. Now when I'm using Overpower with Tifa, I like to put it to L1 and X. I feel like it's just the easiest thing for me. To be honest, it's just how my thumbs work, guys. I cannot emphasize enough the combat potential with this. Like, you can use it in the air, again, same thing like earlier I said, Soaring Flurry or Shuriken Sync, and just throw Tifa into the air and then use Overpower in the air, like with these smaller enemies you see right here. And you can also see here Cloud and Tifa going absolutely ballistic on this enemy right here. like Tifa just using her rise and fall, increasing the stagger damage into Omni Strike. Overpower can then be followed up with a dive kick. From that brief second that she's in the air, press L1 and triangle. That's because I have triangle with dive kick. Just follow up with a dive kick. An amazing combo, like literally. Let me put that again for you in slow motion. As well as everything I've just mentioned, Overpower is just a really great gap closer. Like, look how fast, like honestly, look at the gap close. Basically, if you want your enemies to look like this and just look this stupid, then yeah, use Overpower. You just can't miss it. Now the next move I'm going to show you in this guide is something that makes Tifa quite the freaking monster in the battlefield. Let's talk about Star Shower. Star Shower is one of the most useful abilities that Tifa can have because it increases the power of the next command that is executed. Now these gloves only have 3 materia slots, so I wouldn't recommend keeping them on unless you're purposely trying to cause stress to yourself. But yeah, definitely get proficient with Star Shower quickly enough so that you can use this ability with other weapons equipped. I like to map my Star Shower to L1 and square because my finger's already on the square button. Now the key thing here is to make sure you're in Chi level 1 or Chi level 2 so that when the enemy is staggered, you can get them to increase their stagger percentage by 30%. Then follow that up with a Star Shower to increase how much more damage Star Shower does. Then follow that up with another ability which will then have been made stronger because you then did use Star Shower. Yeah, it's a lot guys, but trust me, you can do it. Now you guys are probably wondering, by how much damage does Star Shower increase the power of the next ability? Well, as you can see here, Dive Kick just did 4,400 damage. Now, once I do Star Shower, look at the damage increase. You get 7,000, just under 7,200 damage. That is roughly a 30 to 40% damage increase. Bear in mind I've got 2 lockups equipped, so that does increase my critical hit rate as well. One of my favorite ways to use Star Shower is actually before even doing a limit break on an enemy to finish them off, or just do so much damage just to get them to like half health. Speaking of increasing damage, that leads me to the next ability, True Strike, and this is where Tifa gets dangerous. Next up we have True Strike. This is paired with the I don't know how to pronounce that, I'm not even gonna bother. But basically, True Strike, carried over from the last game, deliver a tremendous blow at close range, increasing stagger damage bonus. So, same functionality as Unbridled Strength, Rise and Fall, and Omni Strike. The best way to use this is to save this for staggered enemies. These gloves are so useful because they have many linked materia slots, which allows you to equip certain materials and link them together, such as Elemental and Lightning and Wind. This weapon has some very useful weapon skills, including those that increase the critical hit rate, which is great because they all stack together as well. The best strategy I find for using True Strike to its true potential is equipping an ATB assist materia on Tifa. The greatest thing about ATB assist is that when you use 2 commands back to back without doing anything in between, you basically refund a large amount of ATB to your allies. Notice here in this footage that when Tifa uses True Strike twice, Cloud gets refunded ATB. This is great because it maximizes the frequency at which you can use abilities and do other things such as casting spells so you can get other enemies pressured. ATB assist materia can be exchanged for world intel points from Chadley in the Nibel region. ATB assist and Tifa should be best friends. No, like seriously, the next thing that Tifa loves after Cloud is ATB assist materia, guys. Next up, we're going to be talking about Focus Strike, which is actually a move that is in Tifa's base kit. This is going to be one of your most used moves with Tifa, so please pay attention to this next part because this will save your life when it comes to pressuring enemies. Tifa's Focus Strike is a move that allows her to evade the enemy and then unleash a charging attack, which moderately increases stagger damage. I really like to have it as a shortcut map to Circle because Circle is basically the dodge button. Do notice how it says that it can be used in the air as well, so use it to evade aerial enemies and use it to your advantage. Now Focus Strike works in the same way as Barrett's Focus Shot and Cloud's Focus Thrust does. All those focused moves work the same. When you see pressured under an enemy's health bar, assuming you've assessed and then you've exploited their weakness, then use Tifa's Focus Strike to moderately increase the stagger greatly. It does way more pressure increase than basic attacks, so please do try to avoid using basic attacks when the enemy is pressured. That is your window. That is your window to use Focus Strike with Tifa, or Focus Thrust with Cloud, or Focus Shot with Baron. Want to make lighter enemies look stupid? Yeah, I think it's about time we look into Chi Trap. With Chi Trap, Tifa creates an orb of materialized chi that deals damage on contact. Also, am I the only one that thinks that this Chi Trap bubble looks like a Rasengan from Naruto? As you can see, the Tiger Fangs are pretty standard when it comes to magic and attack. Now with Chi Trap, you're actually able to put down multiple bubbles at the same time. I personally don't use Chi Trap all that often, but I definitely would in large groups of enemies, like I just explained. But I would definitely put it to L1 and X, kind of just because, you know, she hits the ground when she does it, and X is kind of at the bottom of the D-pad, you know, that kind of thing. I found that Chi Trap is particularly good for crowd control, and when you have a big group of enemies like these bandits right here, it just, I can't explain. What I'm seeing is against all laws of physics, bro. Like, what Tifa does is straight up disrespectful. You can put up to 3 Chi Traps as well, which is amazing. However, you have to accept the fact that they don't actually last that long. They last up to maybe like 10 to 15 seconds each. So by the time you have enough ATB to maybe put out the third one, yeah, unless you have an ATB boost. Speaking of boosting, let's look at the cousin of Unbridled Strength. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Unfettered Fury. Next up, we have the Crystal Gloves, which give us Unfettered Fury. Now, these weapons are high in magic damage because you imbue your unbridled attacks with non-elemental magic, which do increase stagger. The enemy pressure gauge increases even faster with your basic attacks. The unique weapon skills including enhanced techniques, which increases damage dealt by unique abilities by 15%, increasing attack power by 20, enhanced elements, increases damage attack with elemental materia, max MP plus 3, opening ATB bonus, which grants a slight amount of ATB at the start of battle, which basically is a form of first strike materia, increasing max MP by 3, increasing damage of your limit break by 10%, and another attack plus 20. You can put both of these on to stack, but I like to keep this one, the opening ATB, the attack power, and the enhanced techniques on these. When Tifa enters Unfettered Fury mode, just like Unbridled Strength, her triangle attack changes as well. When she activates Unfettered Fury again, her triangle move changes from Omni Fury to Rage and Fall, very similar to Rise and Fall. Not only do her triangle inputs change, but her basic combo changes as well. At the end of her combo, she releases a mini Chi Trap, and as you can see there, the enemies were getting just stun locked. Giving Tifa so many different basic combo strings was such a great idea from the developers. I can't help but appreciate that so much. It just gives the game so much more variety, and you can have so much more fun with Tifa. Her new triangle move in Unfettered Fury mode is just 2 really powerful uppercuts that just throw lighter enemies into the air. And then you have Omni Flurry, which is amazing because she just flips up into the air, slams both her fists out onto the enemy as hard as possible, just laying them flat. Just look at this guy on the floor contemplating his life choices. Just having Unfettered Fury active and just hitting people with basic combos does increase the stagger bar. I've been fighting this guy for a whole minute and his stagger bar is already more than half full just with basic combos. They were not lying when they said it increases stagger. Just like Rise and Fall and Omni Strike, both triangle attacks also function to increase the stagger percentage as well. Honestly, ever since I've unlocked this, it's just been in my shortcuts. It's never left. Honestly guys, with Unfettered Fury, you couldn't be any more combat ready. Enter into combat with this on and this will do wonders for you. Now ladies and gentlemen, this move deserves no special introduction. I present to you Trinity Strike, aka Nuclear Rocket. Trinity Strike, as the name suggests, consists of 3 consecutive attacks. It's so much more different from other abilities in the fact that you have to unlock it here with these skill cores, and it requires 2 consecutive precise button inputs as well. I like to use the Kaiser Knuckles for this to max out the damage because the Kaiser Knuckles are the strongest attack dealing weapons in the game. In addition to this, I would make sure that I would use a Star Shower before doing this, as Star Shower does increase the potency of the next ability by at least 30%. This is a very tricky move to get the precision inputs correct, so don't get frustrated guys, you can do it. Even me, at least 30% of the time I still miss them. The aim to execute this ability perfectly is to press square when the glowing diamond appears around Tifa. Honestly, I'm just so happy that this move doesn't cost 2 ATB because of how powerful it is. Bro, I don't even care what you tell me. I've had so much fun with this move. This is honestly probably Tifa's best move. Not just in functionality, just in presentation, how it looks. Like, look at this. I managed to get like a cinematic panning around camera shot. Look at this guy's face in the screen looking flabbergasted. This guy back here is just thinking, you know what, I think I should back away. Like, bro, 10 people are literally just getting bodied. Oh my goodness, this move is just crazy.
Let me tell you something.
Now, last but not least, we're going to go into limit breaks. Limit breaks are each character's strongest move and will turn the tide of battle. Limit breaks are performed when the yellow bar next to the ATB bar is full, and there are 3 levels of limit break for each character. Limit break levels can be increased by doing certain synergy abilities. When you see a synergy ability with the label and it's marked with a yellow arrow going upwards, that means limit level going up. So perform that synergy ability if you want to do the next level of limit break, which is a stronger limit break. Every time you perform a synergy ability that increases the limit break level, you'll see next to the limit break bar there is a smaller rectangular node that appears. When there's 1, it means you've increased to limit break level 2, and when there are 2 nodes appearing next to the limit bar, it means you've got access to limit level 3, which is the strongest level of limit break for a character. Limit break level 1 for Tifa is somersault, where she does a spinning upwards axe kick. Tifa's level 2 limit break is her infamous dolphin flurry, which we also had in the last game as well. Now, Tifa's new level 3 limit break is Meteoric Slam, where she taps into the power of the skies and gives the enemy pure pain. I mean, just look at her limit break, it's pure cinema, bro. Now, don't worry guys, you're probably asking, how in God's name do I get to limit level 3? Look, there is an accessory you can get which allows you to automatically enter battle with limit level 2. What this means is that you only have to use a synergy ability once, rather than having to use more and more ATB commands to use a synergy ability twice to get to limit level 3. Now, it's called the Expeditionary Medal, and you get this by transmuting it, so you need to make sure you have all the necessary items in there. It's called a medal awarded to the brave members of the military who have marshaled their courage and faced the enemy on the field of battle. Increases limit level by 1 at the start of battle. If you don't know how to get these items, simply add it to your to-do list, and you can press the touchpad on your controller and it will tell you where you can get each item. Make this a priority. You will definitely need it, especially for hard mode, because those bosses are going to be much more harder and you need to hit back even harder yourself. To unlock each character's highest level of limit break, simply go to the Magnata automat here and go to each character, and it should be at the very top. For Tifa, you get meteor strikes, which is the one that we want right now. And now, Shinobi Nation, we wrap up this guide. That'll be all for today, folks. See you in the next guide. Let me know in the comments down below which character you want to see next. Me personally, I'd really love to do a Red 13, guys, but whatever you guys want, I'll serve and I'll cook for y'all. Please like the video, subscribe. We're almost at 500 subscribers, Shinobi Nation. Let's keep it going. And I'll see you guys on the streams. We'll be platinuming this game, getting 100% no matter what the challenge is. It was a privilege making this guide for you guys. Now let the battles begin. Without further ado, see you guys later in the next one. Obsidian Shinobi signing off.